Okay, so I just figured out what the keep alive time setting does in the main config file for Unreal. So I'll show this first. If we can just get the reshade to load real quick. But if you notice my out packets, as soon as you can see them, and my frame rate, you see I have my frame rate set to about 800 max frames per second, and it's kind of jittering above 5 and 600 frames per second. But if you look at my out packets are 530, 541, and if you look at my average frame rate and my out packets, see that the numbers are almost identical, but they're even though they're jittering up and down because I'm rendering so many frames, but the packets here are staying in sync with my frame rate. See that? Now watch what happens when I go and lower, or I'm going to increase my keep alive time actually. So right here, so I have it at 0.0001. Now I'll change it to 0.01. So now we'll look at my frame rate and we'll look at my out packets as soon as reshade is out of the way. Okay, now see my out packets? My out packets are now like are about half of what my frame rate is. See that? My frame rate's going up to 900, 1000, but look at my out packets. They're half. They're rendering about half, so half as many packets is being sent to the server as my frame rate when I'm at a keep alive time of 0.01. But if I change that to 0.0001, go back into the server, alright, reshade, come on, there we go. So now if you look at my out packets are almost in sync with my frame rate now. So by lowering the keep alive time controls the amount of data you send in out packets to the server. That's what the keep alive time does. So if you're using a default keep alive time, then you're setting your game up to render more frames than your out packets. Like if I set my frame rate back to default, which I think is 0.2, I think that's what the default is right there. And go back into the server. This is where having your own server comes in handy when it comes to constant testing like this and having to go in and out of the game, changing something constantly. Oh, it ended the game. Well, you can see the difference in my out packets. See, my out packets are 300 and my frame rate that I'm getting is just about double that. So my out packets, my data I'm sending to the server is cut in half if I have a keep alive time of 0.2, but if I lower it to 0.0001, then my out packets go in sync with my frame rate. So whatever frame rate your computer runs the best at, everybody has a different frame rate based on their hardware and their internet connection, but whatever frame rate you find comfortable with your machine, you want to set your keep alive time to 0.0001. This will make your out packets be synced up with your frame rate. That way the data you're seeing on your screen is the same data that is being sent to the server. And I'm now starting to believe that the jittering effect you get from rendering too many frames a second compared to the server is where the jittering comes from. So like, because the tick rate of the server is like 90 or 100, so you're only getting like 100 frames a second back from the server. But if you send too many to the server and you're not receiving enough from the server, I think that's where the jittering comes from. Okay, see, so now that I have it back at 0.0001, my out packets are now in sync with my frame rate. So the keep alive time you want to have for what is 0.0001. That makes your data to the server link up with the data you're seeing on your screen. I have my frame rate is too high, so I think it's going to be causing some jittering for me when I move around. But that's where you just find out where your frame rate is that is best for your machine, and then you set your keep alive time to 0.0001, and that'll link up your out packets with whatever frame rate that you run best at. So that's my rundown on what the keep alive time does for your game, and good luck with your testing and find out where your best max frame rate amount is, and link up your out packets to that, and then all the data you see on your screen will match all the data that the server receives from you.